everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing amazing. Today's read will be a collective read, so as per usual, I will be starting off with an oracle and we can clarify the existing energies with tarot. Okay. So we have two cards. One fell out here. Okay, guys, this is interesting. We have the Twin Flame card. Okay. And then we also have Dark Night of the Soul, enhanced awareness of identity, an extremely difficult and painful period, personal and deep development of oneself. Okay. And the Twin Flame card reads, purpose to live separately, learning lessons. Split in half before reincarnating into two separate, okay. Well, what I'm seeing very clearly here is like you could be in the process of detaching from, someone or a situation. Maybe you're trying to, let go of some sort of negative thoughts associated with the person or a relationship here. Now, it seems like there could be unfinished business. So it doesn't seem like a final goodbye, but some of you are really wanting to take some time or space for yourself. There's something here that's become very draining for you or emotionally overwhelming. And for others of you, it could just be that you've recently experienced a separation or a breakup and it's still very fresh on your mind with the Dark Night of the Soul. There could be a lot that you're learning, about yourself. It does read personal and deep development of oneself, but it could also be a very, difficult period. Maybe you are, you do feel like you've endured a lot of pain here, and that's something that you're having a hard time working through or accepting. But I'm strongly getting, detaching from an intense connection because you're not seeing some sort of a change here. It's accepting the reality of a situation, but it doesn't change the fact that it may feel difficult. So this could definitely be a week where you're feeling very isolated, you're feeling very alone. You may even feel like those around you don't really understand what you're going through. Or for others of you, it's like you genuinely feel like you don't have anyone to speak to or anyone to go to pertaining or to speak about what you're essentially, going through in this connection. Maybe you feel like no one will understand, or for others of you, you genuinely feel like you don't have anyone to go to. Let's see here. You feel like someone may be your other half, or you feel very connected to someone. But then there's also a question of, why do things have to feel so complicated? Why couldn't this be more simple? Right? Because I'm getting a strong energy of something feeling very mentally and emotionally draining for you this week. So we have the Knight of Wands on the bottom of the deck, and we have the Three of Pentacles. Some of you could be shifting your focus to work or something that you're passionate about. With the Knight of Wands and the Three of Pentacles, I see someone who they feel an urgency to work something out with you, or at least come to a mutual agreement. Now, the Three of Pentacles is not necessarily a card of commitment. Instead, it's a card of, coming to a mutual agreement or discussing or negotiating something. So I do see that this is someone who wants to connect with you, but with the Knight of Wands, or the Knights in general in tarot, could be a bit of an inconsistent energy, okay? For some of you, it's feeling connected to this person, but maybe there's something pertaining to their lifestyle that needs to be altered or that needs to change in order for you guys to build something stable together. Knight of Wands could be like wishy-washy energy, or like I said, just a very inconsistent energy that you feel like you cannot necessarily count on. So I'm going to start off by seeing how you're being viewed this week. The Six of Swords, yeah, detaching, moving away. So pretty much what I said with the first two cards that came out here. This person is viewing you as prioritizing your peace of mind above all. So even if they feel like you are thinking of them, or they can feel that the connection is still here, they feel like you are seeking a peace of mind, and so you're moving away. I mean, it could be that you're letting go of something mentally, but for others of you, you could be physically relocating as well, or just creating some sort of distance between you and this person where they're sensing the emotional gap. Okay, so Six of Swords is kind of, moving forward, and leaving something behind that feels very draining. So they are viewing you as if your back is turned towards a situation. They're viewing you as someone who is wanting to find a peace of mind, focus on yourself. And this could be a week where they feel like you're not as invested as you once were. Okay. It is something that's mentally impacting them, but they also feel like the distance is needed or the separation is needed between the both of you. There's a very empty feeling here. There could even be some sort of a void that this person's feeling because of you moving away or detaching. Okay, so let's see. We have the Seven of Swords followed by the Nine of Cups in the challenge position. You have someone here who's revisiting a scenario where they feel like they were being selfish or they were being inconsiderate of your feelings. Seven of Swords and the Nine of Cups could be someone who feels that they were only looking out for themselves, or they were doing something based off of their thoughts, their emotions, what they wanted, but also not taking your emotions or your perspective into consideration here. So they could feel like they could be reminded of a selfish act, or this is someone who is feeling challenged this week because they feel like they have been very inconsiderate or insensitive here. The Seven of Swords, Nine of Cups. This is someone who feels like you make them very happy, but there's something about looking out for themselves. So whether it's some sort of dishonesty, right, with the Seven of Swords, not being completely transparent with you, having some sort of a guard up, it could have stemmed from a space of not feeling ready to, communicate something to you, but digging beneath the surface, it's more about, okay, well, I'm going to protect myself, but they weren't really looking at how this dishonesty was going to make you feel. Hence why those two cards are coming up in the challenge position. That's what this person is revisiting, and that's what they're feeling challenged by. With the Seven of Swords, this could also be a card of strategy. Someone who wants to come back in, someone who wants to speak to you, but with it being upright, they're not necessarily being completely honest. There could be something that they're hiding from you, or something that they're not owning up to or taking accountability for. But what I was initially getting is someone who feels challenged because they feel they have been inconsiderate, or they have been kind of only seeing things from their side, protecting protecting themselves in one way or another, but not really paying attention to how that would make you feel. How are you viewing them? The Four of Pentacles. You're viewing this person as someone who's very held back. Okay. Four of Pentacles could also be read as like a greedy energy. So some of you may feel like this person was taking from this connection, but they weren't necessarily reciprocating that energy, right? You may feel like you were giving to this connection more than you were receiving from it. And the Four of Pentacles could be an energy of you wanting to kind of take a few steps back, or hold on to what you have, or protect your energy when it comes to this person here. But you are viewing them as someone who is withdrawn. Okay, you may be aware of some sort of issues pertaining to their stability that they're currently facing, because the Four of Pentacles could be whether it's like financial instability, something to do with their living situation that's changing here. But you are viewing them as withdrawn, and possibly even someone who was, again, receiving from this connection more than they were giving to it. So in your feelings, we have the King of Pentacles, okay, and the Seven of Pentacles. Some of you feel like you're starting from scratch, specifically for those of you that are, enduring a great amount of pain because of a separation or a breakup here. King of Pentacles and the Seven of Pentacles could be an energy of starting from scratch or attaining some sort of stability for yourself, but there's a lot of analyzing and observing that you're doing with the Seven of Pentacles. Here's what's working, here's what's not. All right, what do I need to change? Where is there room for improvement? And with the Seven of Pentacles, that basically boils down to you looking at a situation, or a person in this case, and saying, is it worth the investment? If I continue to invest emotionally, financially, or, any other way, is this actually going to work out for me, or am I going to be disappointed? So that is definitely something that is crossing your mind this week. And I feel like you're being a lot more logical about the situation this week. I'm not saying that your emotions are not involved. They definitely are, but you are trying to make a decision based off of logic. You're using your mind more than your heart. What makes sense to you, what's in front of you, what feels tangible, and not just what something could be, or the potential of something. We have the Five of Pentacles in your feelings, and the Strength card. Yeah, I will say you feel very defeated, but you are, keeping it together with the strength card. And what's interesting is the strength card is a very withdrawn energy or you being held back when it comes to this person, but it also touches on very deep emotions. So not only are you feeling defeated, you could be feeling very heartbroken, but you are just trying to push through. There could even be someone in your life that you feel you have to be strong for, or someone that is, that kind of like looks up to you. For example, if you're, you have children of your own, or maybe you are a caregiver here, it could be that you are just trying to remain strong and kind of push your feelings aside in a way. With the Five of Pentacles, King of Pentacles, as well as the Seven of Pentacles, there's definitely an energy of starting from scratch or wanting to feel more stable within yourself and your environment, right? So you could be creating some sort of a plan to come out of some sort of, financial or a lack of financial stability here, right? Whether it's you took a large financial hit, okay, maybe you feel like you invested in this person quite a bit and you're just feeling energetically drained, but there's something going on when it comes to your material world where you feel like you've taken some sort of a loss and you're wanting to feel stable again. So there's some sort of a step-by-step process that you're taking here with the Five of Pentacles and the Seven of Pentacles. It does require you to be very observant, and I think the main thing that you're focusing on this week is, where am I putting my energy? Where am I putting my finances? Is it worth it? Is it working out for me, or is it time for me to cut ties with said thing and turn inward? So we have the Queen of Pentacles clarifying the Seven of Swords. We have the King of Pentacles in your feelings. Ace of Wands clarifying the Nine of Cups. Yeah. I do think that there's like an urgency or a desire to reconnect with you here, but this is not someone who's coming in and being completely transparent. There's something here that they're not ready to speak about. There's something here that they're not ready to own up to. And Seven of Swords could even be someone who is coming in and maybe telling you what they think you want to hear, but there's something else going on behind the scenes with that card being upright. With the Queen of Pentacles, there is a strong energy of this person feeling like you're able to see through them, or there's something that has come to light to you or for you about them. And Queen of Pentacles is also an energy of being very careful, right? Because she is holding on to that pentacle and she's like, where do I want to put this pentacle? Who do I want to give this pentacle to? So this person knows that you're not as open as you once were. Hence why those two cards are coming up in the challenge position. Yes, I want a new beginning. Yes, I want to reconnect, but I know that you're not going to be as open with me this time around, or maybe you're just not going to be open with me at all. They're viewing you in a very cautious energy. They're viewing you in an energy where you've received some sort of clarity, where it led to you not wanting to invest in this situation as much as you once have. They can sense that you're emotionally feeling defeated or going through a lot, but they can also sense that you're not really opening that door for them, or you're not giving them leeway to kind of like understand how you're feeling. So in other words, they feel like you don't feel comfortable opening up to them emotionally. They can sense that you're going through something, but they can also sense that you're not wanting to speak about it, or you're not wanting to open up to them with that strength card. I'm also strongly getting here with the Queen of Pentacles clarifying the Seven of Swords. There could be some sort of dishonesty in terms of finances or assets in this connection as well, or someone's investment. So if it's not directly, finances or a living situation, like someone investing elsewhere, or someone not being completely honest about where their time and energy is being distributed. Okay, and with the Ace of Wands, Nine of Cups, yep, I mean, there is a desire for a new beginning here, but there's also, it's not stemming from a space of, it's not the most stable energy. It's like a very, there's an urgency here. Okay, it's a very fast moving energy of, I want to reconnect, I want to speak to you, but it's not necessarily an energy where it's like there's a plan in place. So it doesn't feel so stable. In their feelings, we have the Four of Cups. So this is someone who is not happy with the current dynamic, but they're spending more time thinking about what has already occurred. There could even be an opportunity in front of them where, they have an opportunity to reconnect with you, or find a solution, but they're missing that opportunity that is being presented to them because there's too much of a focus on the past. There's too much of a focus on what has already happened. The Four of Cups could also be an energy of having what you want, or having the tools to change, what you're not pleased with, but, not being able to accept that because something is not coming in the way that you thought it would. Right? So with the Four of Cups, again, there could be an opportunity, there could be a chance for this person to figure something out, but they're not seeing it that way because of where their focus is. Are they happy with the current dynamic? No. But there's also a lot of like, daydreaming and fantasizing and what could be, but it's not the most action oriented energy. We have the Three of Wands in their feelings. So someone who feels like they need to create some sort of a plan. Three of Wands could also be some sort of a waiting game where it's like they're waiting for a sign from you or they're waiting for the right time. This could be someone who's subliminally hinting something at you, but I don't really see it as being direct or taking some sort of action to actually find a solution here. King of Swords in their feelings and the Five of Wands. There's something they know that they need to cut ties with. Five of Wands could be, an external influence. It could be something that they feel they could have avoided, because as much as fives speak about obstacles or conflict, Five of Wands in particular is usually something that you feel you could have avoided. It's usually something that you feel like lacks importance, kind of like it's petty in a way, right? So with the King of Swords and the Five of Wands, I strongly feel like this person is revisiting a situation that they feel like they could have potentially avoided. I'm also getting here that they're trying to cut ties with someone or something that they disagree with, right? So Five of Wands could be, again, external opinions. For example, if it's a family member or a friend, there's someone here that's telling them something that they don't agree with, something that they don't want to hear, and they're trying to cut ties with this individual. If it's a situation, like a work situation or, some sort of drama, it's usually a very chaotic energy. The Five of Wands, this person is trying to detach here. They feel conflicted about this separation, I will say that, but there is a level of frustration or something else that this person feels like they have a right to hold on to. And I'm also strongly getting with the King of Swords and the Four of Cups, they want something to change, but they don't truly believe that they're capable of making that change. This person feels like there's a lot going on around them with the Five of Wands where they're not able to act on something the way that they want to. If there's another energy involved with the Five of Wands, that could be the reason we have the Seven of Swords, where it's like they want to reconnect with you, but they're not being completely transparent about something else or someone else that they're involved with. So we have the High Priestess followed by the Ace of Swords in the potential outcome. So, some sort of truth or a breakthrough after a period of silence with the High Priestess. Some of you sense a breakthrough because the High Priestess could quite literally just speak about your intuition or some sort of consistent signs that you're receiving. So I do see, a breakthrough in this situation. The High Priestess is being clarified by the Page of Cups and the Ace of Swords, Ace of Cups, yeah. Someone who wants a new beginning with you, but the breakthrough has to be owning up to something or a truth coming to light. If the truth is something that's being avoided, it would be hard to even come to a mutual agreement, right? Not for all of you are you going to want a new beginning with this person, but I do see that's something that they're desiring. I do see someone who wants to come in, reconnect with you. I think this is someone who's really missing you. And you're possibly picking up on their energy intuitively, but the Ace of Swords is being clarified by the Ace of Cups. It's giving me a strong energy of, yes, there is potential to get something off the ground. Yes, there is potential to turn over a new leaf, but, the truth needs to come to light. The Nine of Pentacles and the Two of Swords. Some of you could be choosing yourself, even if it's for the time being. Because the Nine of Pentacles and the Two of Swords could be you choosing to focus on yourself or isolate yourself from this situation or detach because there's something that you're not seeing clearly. And Two of Swords is either a lack of clarity, or it could also be read as you feel connected to this person, but you're having a hard time believing that things are going to be different this time around. So again, I can't tell you what to do, but I am seeing that there's an opportunity for a new beginning, but I clarified those cards to kind of see maybe how you're feeling here. So for some of you, yes, there obviously is potential for a new beginning, but many of you could feel like you're not agreeing with this new beginning because it's like you feel you're going to end up at square one, or you're having a hard time seeing how things are going to be different this time around. Right? Especially for those of you that have given this person countless, chances. There's a strong energy of what are we going to do differently? Or are you actually going to make the necessary changes? Is this relationship actually going to be different this time around? And that may be something that you're having a hard time, believing here. Okay. And there's also a lack of trust, almost like when you are connecting with this person, you feel like there's something here that they're not telling you. Or when you converse with this person, you feel like you're constantly trying to figure out what they're not telling you. So even if they're conversing with you, you feel like there's always something there that is left unsaid, or there's always something there that kind of keeps you guessing, or you feel like there's a lack of clarity. So, which leads to a lack of trust. So I do see that some of you are choosing to, focus on yourself. And even if this person communicates with you, there's something that you don't trust. There's something here where it's like, I know you're not telling me everything, or I know that you're still guarded or have some sort of a wall up. Okay. So let's see if there's anything that they want to communicate to you. I also feel strongly, guys, like many of you are going through not only a healing process, but you're learning a lot about yourself and this individual here. So what, when you're healing and your perspective changes, when this person reaches out, it could be that your feelings have changed, or there's something that you now know about this person that is causing you to have a hard time, believing that you can actually have something stable or something can change between the both of you. It's like your perspective is changing when this person comes in. So you're not viewing them in the same light that you've always, viewed them in, or how you viewed them in the past here, where it's like, okay, well, I don't see you in the same light, or my perspective has changed, so I don't know if I still agree with you or want the same things with you, in comparison to what I wanted with you in the past. Many of you are going through a very tough period where, because you're going through it on your own, it's a strong energy of only I know what I had to endure. Only I know what I had to go through. So do I want to put myself in that position again? Do I want to put my heart on the line? And really, like, digging beneath the surface here, it's because you don't trust that things are going to change with the Two of Swords, right? So you could have your reasons as to why you don't, trust that, but it's not necessarily you being negative. There's some sort of tangible evidence here, or there's a pattern, something that has been very repetitive that is causing you to believe, well, I don't know if I want to get my emotions involved again. Okay, so we have, you came closer than anyone. I replay our conversations over and over. So they're definitely feeling very nostalgic this week. I feel like this is someone who could have even possibly detached, or it could have been a case of self-sabotage. With this card here, you came closer than anyone. It is an energy of someone who feels like you guys were connecting on a deep level, but there was a lack of stability, or there's a very back and forth energy here. You could have also been connecting with this person while they were still involved in another situation, or they had a lot going on in their environment where you felt some sort of neglect. You knew that you did not have this person's undivided attention. Okay, anything else? Okay. I'm starting to understand our connection. And I do feel like with the High Priestess that came out in the potential outcome, that could be consistent signs that this person is receiving, someone's intuition that is, where they feel guided in your direction, or there's something that their intuition is telling them. But as much as I feel like, okay, this person could be understanding the connection, there's something here that they're having a hard time accepting and furthermore acting on it, right? Four of Cups is when you're like sitting in a situation, you're not happy with it. You do have what it takes to change your current circumstances, but you're not seeing that because there's too much of a focus on the negative. You're feeding into your pessimistic thoughts. It could even be when you're stuck in a space of what they call like analysis paralysis, where you're like thinking about something so much, overthinking maybe even, but you're talking yourself out of doing something, or it's like the freeze response. Look at this, guys. It says, I am not available, right? Whether this be emotionally, or it's just someone with the Five of Wands, there's someone else involved, or they're in a very chaotic environment. And then we also have, I knew exactly what I was doing. So that could be the guilt that they're feeling with the Seven of Swords and the Nine of Cups. One of the first things I mentioned here, guys, with the Seven of Swords and the Nine of Cups in the challenge position, is that this is someone who feels or is being reminded of a selfish act. They feel like they have done something where they were protecting themselves, but they weren't looking out for you. They were protecting themselves, but they weren't realizing how that would deeply impact you on an emotional level. So someone who was only looking out for themselves is now starting to realize, okay, that's what I was doing. And this could be someone who, yes, feels guilty, but also feels like they're in the wrong because they knew what they were doing all along. Okay, anything else? I am grateful for the spiritual lesson. Yeah. And I do feel like it's a very intense connection, but there may be some sort of healing that needs to take place individually. And I say this with complete transparency. I also feel like there's a very indecisive energy. Someone needs to cut ties with something, okay? Or even if it's something in their environment, constant drama or chaos, that needs to come to an end before a connection takes off here. But there's so much that has occurred between the both of you with the Nine of Pentacles and the Two of Swords. Many of you are choosing to turn inward, because of what has happened, right? When you pay attention to the timeline of this connection, because there has been a pattern, because you've been dealing with something consistently, you are having a hard time trusting this person. You're having a hard time seeing how things could be difficult. And what I'm strongly getting here is like, the period that you're going through right now could be extremely difficult. Maybe you feel like you're just taking it, one day at a time, right? With a strength card, it's like, it doesn't have to be that you have someone in your life that you have to be strong for, but maybe it's like, okay, well, I have to move on. I still have to, do things on a day-to-day basis. I can't just, freeze and just put everything aside. And it could feel very difficult and draining, almost like you're in survival mode. But I also feel like, as you're going through this period, and because you're going through this period alone, you're going to get to a point of, okay, well, only I know what I have gone through, right? So I don't know if I want to connect with this person again. And yes, it could feel like you're in a very isolated period. It could feel very difficult. I'm not going to, downplay how difficult this could feel for you guys or how draining it could feel. But there is a lesson here. There's something that you're learning, and then your perspective is going to change. Having to go through something on your own could also completely turn you off from a situation because you feel like someone was not there when you could have, when you needed or wanted them to be there the most. Okay. So that is what I'm getting for you guys. I really do hope you were able to find a message that resonated with you here today. And thank you so much for your time.